Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Beginning in the capital city, where state lawmakers will be discussing expanding the religious presence in Nebraska's public schools. A busy day for the legislature's Education Committee on Monday includes discussion of Hastings Senator Dave Merman's bill, which would require schools to display the 10 Commandments. In Merman's proposal, all middle and high schools would need to have the commandments on display somewhere in their building, but elementary schools would have to have them displayed in every classroom. Another bill by Senator Glenn Meyer of Pender would require schools to display the mottos, "In God We Trust" and "Equality Under the Law." A third bill, put forth by Central City Senator Lauren Lippincott, would allow public schools to employ chaplains who would be able to provide support in academics or emotional and behavioral health. State lawmakers also discussing potential limits to the voter-approved minimum wage increase. The unicameral's Business and Labor Committee discussing Lincoln Senator Jane Raybold's LB 258. It's a bill that seeks to limit the annual cost of living increases once the state hits the voter-approved $15 an hour next year. Raybold's bill would cap that cost of living increase at 1.5% each year. Her bill would also limit the minimum wage for minors to $13.50 an hour. The federal job cuts keep coming. Almost all full-time USAID employees on administrative leave as of Monday. That follows about 2,000 layoffs in the agency over the weekend. Now, other federal workers face a new deadline. Amy Kiley has more on an email they got over the weekend.
This is panic-inducing.
Federal workers have just hours left to make a decision some fear could affect their careers. An email from the Office of Personnel Management gives them until the end of today to explain the work they did last week. In a next post, Elon Musk says he'll interpret a failure to respond as a resignation. But the Departments of Defense, Homeland Security, State, and Energy are telling workers not to reply. The White House hasn't clarified if that puts their Trump-nominated secretaries at odds with Musk. The National Federation of Federal Employees says workers should discuss the emails with their supervisors.
What they're doing is illegal. They cannot fire workers for not complying with this email.
Several unions are vowing legal action, but could be racing against time.
We will likely already have seen a lot of people dismissed from their jobs by the time any court gets around to saying, actually these people deserve to have their jobs.
President Donald Trump is urging Musk to be aggressive, but several polls indicate many voters who support shrinking the government don't like how it's happening.
They want it done in a respectful, in a decent, in a organized fashion, and they don't see that happening right now.
People don't like it when a billionaire goes and bullies working people in this country.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Meanwhile, the future of a teacher training program in rural Nebraska in danger since the Trump administration has cut diversity-related grants. The program is known as Resign, or Roots in English. It's designed to recruit would-be teachers from rural Nebraska communities, train them, and place them in their hometown classrooms. Officials with the program say it connects the communities to their schools and to the people that are teaching their kids.
Obviously, it has, teach to read, teach mathematics, academic content, but it's also the friendly face that welcomes teachers at a parent conference. All of the features about making schools part of the infrastructure of a community being healthy.
Hammond says the cuts will mean a loss of funding for 16 student scholarships. It's about $450,000. But he says he's cautiously optimistic that Raices organizers will be able to make up the funds from local donors. But he's admitting these cuts have created instability.
We didn't think that we'd have to rally our troops in this way. We thought our work at this time was to implement the grant, not to go out looking for new resources to sort of keep it going. But, you take adversity, you drop a couple swear words, and then you get on task and figure out, sort of what's the way that we're going to go forward.
He says should it continue, the program will recruit and train rural Nebraska high school students who are considering teaching careers. Several recent outbreaks of measles across the U.S. raising alarm about public health, particularly as vaccine rates among children lag. All of this coming amid those massive layoffs at the CDC. Hundreds have been sent packing, including scientists that help investigate what causes disease outbreaks. Jen Sullivan has more on the public health concerns.
The rise in measles cases across the country is igniting a public health concern. Over the weekend, cases in western Texas grew to 90 and 9 in New Mexico. It's the largest measles outbreak in Texas in 30 years.
This is a very serious and very dangerous measles epidemic.
Measles is a highly contagious airborne disease. General symptoms include a rash of red spots, fever, cough, and red watery eyes. While the vaccine won't prevent you from getting the measles, the efficacy rate for one dose is 93%, which is given to infants. The second dose, given to kids around 4 years old, is about 97% effective, according to medical experts. If you are vaccinated and catch it, Dr. Hotez says your symptoms will be much less severe. 285 cases were reported in the U.S. last year, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Medical experts say it's partially due to the decline in vaccine rates. And until those numbers go up, the number of measles cases will grow.
I'm hearing from colleagues on the ground there that there may be many more cases that still haven't yet been confirmed.
The measles outbreak comes amid massive layoffs at the CDC, which helps detect and prevent disease threats. Many fired employees expressing concerns over what these layoffs could mean for public health.
While I'm all for efficiency, if we do things the right way, if we go through a RIF, but the sledgehammer approach or just creating a list, knowing that those lists could be wrong and not correcting those things, and then just, firing people on a whim is unethical.
I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Well, when it comes to internet speeds, all of Jefferson County is considered unserved by the Nebraska Broadband Office, bogged down by internet download speeds lower than 25 megabytes per second. But that could be changing over the next couple of years now that the statewide BEAD initiative has begun its deployment phase. BEAD stands for Broadband Equity, Access, and Deployment, and this program could help bring more reliable internet to areas like you see here in Dakin, Jansen, and Steel City. These addresses among nearly 30,000 broadband serviceable locations the Nebraska Broadband Office has deemed eligible for BEAD funding. More than $400 million of federal money ticketed for the state's initiative, which plans to help bring these areas literally up to speed with more developed urban counterparts across the state.
He said for sure it won't be all high-speed fiber. There's going to be some people that will rely on either satellite or wireless technology. But the good news is that those technologies have increased dramatically in their ability to provide those speeds.
Areas to the west of Jefferson County, like Hebron, and to the east, like Beatrice, are considered underserved by the Nebraska Broadband Office. That means their internet speeds are a bit faster and more reliable, but not as fast as other areas. The state has identified 133 project areas they plan to address with BEAD funding over the next 3 years. And finally, snow and sub-zero temperatures didn't stop families from across the U.S. meeting in central Nebraska for the 34th annual winter edition of the Cattleman's Classic. Peter Rice has more.
The Nebraska Cattleman's Classic has been in Kearney for the past week, highlighting the lifestyle of ag producers, ranchers, and cattlemen alike. However, the organization is now focused on the next generation more than ever before.
Families from across the nation converged on the Buffalo County Fairgrounds to not only buy and sell livestock, but to also share knowledge with peers and children interested in the trade. Industry officials say it's harder than ever to find individuals that want to work on the farm, so many families are teaching resilience to their little ones in preparation for the future.
A strong mission of the NCC, the Classic, is building the next generation, whether it's providing the shows for the youth or providing educational opportunities. And it's all about bringing education truly to cattlemen of all ages.
The cattle people have a lot of pride in what they do, in raising their cattle, building their ranches and so forth. And their dream, basically, is to eventually let their children and grandchildren carry on the legacy of the operation.
And I think it means a lot to still have all of the generations here. My dad and my grandpa still working at the ranch, and my dad's here today, but my grandpa at almost 90 years old is at home taking care of the cows. So it just means a lot to have all of the family together.
And the organization itself is stepping up to donate over $24,000 in scholarships for kids and college students wanting to enter the agriculture business. And officials say this is only a fraction of what it costs to help feed the rest of the country and the world. In Kearney, Peter Rice, News Channel Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com and click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.